Guess which one is which? 12 versus 50 megapixels. Which one is the 50? Which one is the 12 megapixels? Xiaomi 17 Ultra, and we want to try out and see if we can see any difference between the 12.5 megapixels and the 50 megapixel mode. Yes, there's a 50 megapixel mode hidden in the photo settings. All you have to go and do in the photo app is swipe down, and there you can see 50 megapixel mode. Be aware that this is only available in Leica Vibrant, so Leica Authentic doesn't allow for 50 megapixel shots. So I think we do some photos here in this sunny kind of environment here in Wesel, Germany, and compare the 12.5 megapixels versus the 50 megapixel output. So let's get started. Guess which one is which? 12 versus 50 megapixels. Which one is the 50? Which one is the 12 megapixels? Yeah, you're right. On the right here we have the 50 megapixel. And here we have the 12 megapixels. You can see there is a bit of slightly more detail. When we zoom out, do we see much of a difference between those two? It seems to be a bit brighter here on the 50 megapixel shot, where the 12 megapixel shot is a bit more contrasty. When we go in 100%, we have almost a macro view using the 75 millimeter. This is how much information is captured with 50 megapixels. When we go to the 12 megapixel shot 100% view, this is what you get. If I want to get the same kind of thing, I have to zoom in quite a bit, and you see I didn't nail the focus at all, or it is just simply not that sharp. Or, like I did before, zoom out this one here, so you have equally kind of like the same side-by-side comparison. Still, the 50 megapixel shot seems to be a lot sharper. Let's check out the main camera shot to see which one is which. When we have the zoomed out shots here side by side, we don't see much of a difference. Maybe a bit more contrast again on the 12 megapixel shot, where the 50 megapixel shot is a bit less contrasty. When we go into the details here, however, you can see that it's a lot more sharpened up on the 12 megapixel shot, especially when I zoom out like to the same kind of level here, roughly, you can see that it is a much more contrasty look and much more sharpened up look, where it's much more natural looking with the 50 megapixel shot here on the Xiaomi 17 Ultra. And the same goes for everything else that you can see. It has a bit of more camera vibe and look. Look at this here compared to this here, which has a bit of a moire pattern already going on, and thanks to the over sharpening is like blending those little fence lines together, where this one here feels much more natural on the 50 megapixel shot. What about the text there in the background? Warmer, a bit colder, more realistic here. It does less processing on the 50 megapixel shot, and this is actually helping the shot to make it a little bit more camera-like, where it's not over sharpening to oblivion. And the same goes for the ultra wide angle. My daughter here in the shot of the 12 megapixel shot you can ignore here, but just look at other things here. For example, here, yes, we have also some issues. A lot less sharp here on the 50 megapixel shot, because it doesn't do this over sharpening or sharpening algorithm so much. It's almost like a raw shot here with the 50 megapixel shot, where you get like then the real quality of the image, so you can see how much AI is helping, or the algorithms are helping this shot to become a bit more clearer. And in this shot, still I would prefer the 50 megapixel shot, because look at this here and the natural kind of sharpness, where here it is just simply, again, moire pattern and sharpenings applied. So it appears to be more detailed, but it's actually not. And we have a bit of more contrasty look, a bit more a yellowish look, where a bit more reddish look, more realistic look, where here it's like trying to be artsy in a way. Look at the greens and the patterns there. This one looks a bit over sharpened, where here it is nice and soft. And the same goes for this little bridge here. and other aspects that you can see in this shot. Let's go and check out this ultra wide angle shot, because I found something very interesting. When we look up here, do you see it? Maybe you don't, but here you can see a bit of the reflection going on. There is a net in front of this. This net is there to protect against some, birds, doves, pigeons, to not fly up here and put their stuff there. You know what I mean. When I zoom out here, we see again the same pattern, much less contrast on the 50 megapixel shot, much more contrast on the 12 megapixel shot. In terms of detail levels, again, because it's also not only contrast but sharpening applied, we get a much more natural picture on the right. Look at this, compare it with this. So which one is actually better? It's a stylish decision almost, I would say. You see that there is denoising happening, where here it keeps a little bit of more noise in. So yes, there's less processing going on. It makes it more camera-like on the 17 Ultra for sure. And then we have this shot, just to see how good is the resolution. Of course, I get closer and I get more stuff with this telesensor here, which is 100 millimeters on both. Yeah, almost the same settings there. And again, much nicer. You see how much more information there is captured on the 50 megapixel shot. Even if I zoom it out roughly, you will see also that it's a bit brighter on the 50 megapixel shot. The greens are different looking. And nothing really big changed. It was just a split second, so no cloud or something like this coming in between. Here, this is looking not only brighter, but more detailed as well on the 50 megapixel shot. I'm like almost, so surprised that this 50 megapixel shot is so useful on the 17 Ultra that I would say, hey, keep it on forever and always shoot in 50 megapixels, because it's more camera-like than the normal shot. Apart from one thing, and this is a bit of a bummer, that there is no like authentic mode in the 50 megapixel shot, just the vibrant mode. And this explains the color difference, because this here is like authentic, where this here is like a vibrant. And this is a bit of a bummer sometimes if you want to create the right mood. What about this shot here? Portrait shot. Of course, you cannot do portrait shot with 50 megapixel in portrait mode, but I just did a normal 23 millimeter shot here of myself. Which one is better? Which one is less good? Hard to tell. There's like here a little less yellow. Here it's a bit more yellow on my arm. The face almost identical. When I go in 100% view, you can see that there is already blurriness on the front and the rest is like sharp. So the lens issue there probably. But when I zoom out, I see that the colors are, especially on my eyebrows, a bit nicer. It's a bit too darkish here on the 12 megapixel shot. My hair color a bit too going into greenish, where here it's warmish, which it should be. The background blur should be identical, and it is, but you see also the bit of more greenish look here. Here a bit more warmish kind of magentish kind of look. And the little patterns and details there, almost identical. It's a bit more sharpened up, a bit more contrasty there again, but that's it. Here you see the sharpening on my beard. Here you don't. Which one you prefer? I still prefer the 50 megapixel shot. And then this little guy here, just to show you how much detail you can get out of there. Here's this one eye plush toy, and here you can see the pattern of the eye basically, and the colors there in the eye, because it's like a little pattern there, and you don't see it on this shot at all. So there you get your details. And even if I zoom out on the same kind of level, you can still see the pattern which you don't see here. So very interesting. So yes, if you have the chance, use the 50 megapixel shot if you want to have a detailed shot, if you know that you have to crop in, or if you want a bit less aggressive sharpening, less aggressive noise reduction, and less aggressive contrast. Then you for sure should choose the 50 megapixel shot. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have some other suggestions what I should try on the 17 Ultra, put it down below. Until the next time. Bye.